everybody. Thanks for joining me for another One Man Reviews. Today I'll be doing just a quick little flip through of this book because it just came out and it's not very long, so I don't want to give away a lot. But this is Princess of Destruction by Paige Mehrer. The reason I ordered this is because when I saw it on Instagram, I saw that it was bound with these little beads on the side, and I thought, if someone's really taking the time to be thoughtful about their book like that, then it's, I want to see what's on the inside of the content. I just like these little kind of touches like this that people can do when they're making their own book. So this is pretty much a poetic little book talking about people dealing with depression and things like that. But you get a sense of the art here. There's this really nice washy watercolor effect all the way through. You get here, I thought this was interesting that she's talking about missing her young body and being a cheerleader. So I don't know how old this artist is and how far they are away from high school, but I think this is maybe the first time I've seen a comic by someone who's a former cheerleader, which is really interesting to me. Just that alone stands out, that the medium has expanded it enough to include people with that diverse of a background. So there is that kind of sensibility running throughout it, this interest in beauty and, sparkly things and stuff like that, but also someone talking about growing older and kind of finding themselves. There's some stuff about, looking through to the other side of the mirror, like this image right here. She finally crosses the picture plane. So it's just, about those kind of topics, but also how those things bleed into your life in general. So here it says, now I just orbit apathy. My skin can't crawl off my face fast enough. So that's kind of like I said, this is a really quick one because it's a shorter book and I don't want to go through the whole thing. But I think the kind of poetic reflections on something makes this different than an autobiography comic. It's someone going through their thoughts rather than telling you what they're about. They're being more obtuse about it so you can make some of your own conclusions, and I quite like that. And then that's combined with these kind of poetic symbolic imagery. Really like the way that it's all reproduced as well. You really get a sense of the texture of the watercolor paper and the way the little bits of grain go into all the paper and things like that. And then just some sequences like this that I think you just take that alone and it's pretty visually powerful. I can extrapolate a lot out of that, especially given some of the wording earlier on. So really cool package. I don't know what else Paige Mehrer has done. I don't see much else on Instagram, but I'm very curious about this artist, and definitely maybe seeing this artist work in a longer format or continuing to play with this type of material uses would be really cool. So I would definitely recommend checking this book out. It's an interesting little piece to add to your collection, especially if you like these kind of couture handmade books. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, there's two ways to support us. The first is through our Patreon. We have two different tiers of engagement there. Any of the money we get on Patreon just goes back into buying the books that we review, so that helps us keep this whole thing rolling, lets us support some other artists and publishers, which we really appreciate. And then if you want to support Living the Line, the best thing to do is buy some of the books that Sean's putting out. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now. Plaza by Yokoyama Yuichi. This is translated by Ryan Holmberg and is very large for a manga, so that's a really cool feature of this book, this standard manga size. And this is just a 200 some odd page representation of what Yokoyama Yuichi thinks of the Carnival parade, and he's just made this relentlessly loud and rhythmic book that pushes all kinds of amazing boundaries of what comics and manga are, and we could not recommend this book more.
Like and subscribe and hit the bell, please, so Carson can finish reading his books and let me go home.